Thompson twins, and as advertised, we have a full house here this morning as we get going in the 10 o'clock hour. And the very first person I'm going to welcome in is Peg Buddha. Good morning, Peg.
How you do, Jim? Good to be here.
I'm good. How are you?
Well, I really appreciate you giving us the opportunity to share a little bit about Williams County Safe Communities, the coalition, and what we're doing in regards to this drive sober or get pulled over kickoff that's just starting here today.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, I appreciate you coming in. You brought a lot of friends with you today. How's that? And I'm on my best behavior because two of them are in uniform sitting right next to you at this point in time. With us is Lieutenant Bob Ashenfelter with the Ohio State Highway Patrol, and also Sergeant Mike McLean. Guys, welcome into the Dome this morning.
Morning, Jim. Thanks.
Good to have you guys back in here. And again, first of all, let me compliment all of you for trying to do something that I think we all need to be aware of, and that is to keep people safe on the roadways. And a little later in the program, we're going to have a very heartwarming story that I think most people are familiar with, but we'll get some insight into a family who actually lost a loved one to a drunk driving accident about 5 years ago. So hang in there with us this morning. We're going to talk a little bit about driving sober or getting pulled over, and that's very important, I think, as we work our way through what's left of this summer right now. Peg, first, talk to me just a little bit about your program. You're the Safe Communities Coordinators. What's the Safe Communities program?
Well, Jim, we are actually, I work out of the Williams County Health Department, and it's a grant that we write every year. It goes through the state of Ohio. And actually, Williams County Safe Communities started way back in 1996.
Wow.
So it's been going around for a while here in Williams County. Actually, our first meeting was 1997 in February, and the Safe Communities mission is really to save lives and reduce injuries on our roadways through leadership and partnering efforts with other public safety agencies here in Williams County and community members. And so that got things started back about 20 years ago. I've been on board about 10 years now with the Safe Communities program. I am the coordinator there out of the Williams County Health Department. And so when the Safe Communities was organized, it really was to start developing strategies, countermeasures for preventing illness, injuries and death on our roadways, and forming partnerships to do that, so everyone coming collectively together would really help be more effective, and also as a cost savings. Now back in 1997, the data collection was sporadic in regards to being collected in many different places, and so we know over the years being able to bring that data together so that we can pull from it and be able to develop strategies from that data. Then has really been a progression that I've seen just in the last 5 years in regards to how we can pull data and looking at crashes that we have here in Williams County. So really, there's actually 47 safe communities in the state of Ohio, and it looks at data at the local level, and so we can actually pull local data and put it into a larger context so that we can really develop strategies.
Yeah. Was there anything that was the starting point for this? Did something happen in '96 that caused the area to get involved with this, or did the program just start and everybody thought it was a great idea?
Well, it's through the Ohio Department of Public Safety, so
Okay.
It was a program that was initiated through the state, and also in regards to safe communities. I mean, obviously we have always been wanting to have a safe community in regards to our traffic injuries, and so I think it's something that just collectively came together that this would be something that was offered and we should apply for it as a grant. And like I said, it's been something that we've been doing for the last 20 years.
Yeah, well, that's amazing. Bob, this initiative, have you been around the 20 years? Have you been a state trooper 20 yet?
I've been a state trooper 20 years, I have. Jim.
Have you? But you've not been around this area and this program for 20 years
Not this direct area right here, but within the Northwest Ohio. I've worked all through Northwest Ohio throughout my career and have been heavily involved in this throughout my career in every county that I've ever worked in. And with that fact, there's a lot of, we can't begin to do all the education all of ourselves on top of all the enforcement and everything else. And without our partners in these safe community grants and without PEG here in Williams County, we wouldn't, the message just wouldn't get spread like we possibly could. We don't have enough manpower to be able to do 90 jobs all at the same point
Sure.
in time. PEG here does about 40 of them for us.
That's
Right,
good to
so
have.
she really picks up a very big bulk of the situation. and getting the education out between drive sober, get pulled over, the click it or ticket, stay alive, don't text and drive, and the motorcycle campaigns that we run every year on top of everything else that we try to do between failure to yield, and again hitting on the seatbelts. It is an inundating job to try to bring that education to the public, because all we want you to do is abide by the law.
Yeah.
In voluntary compliance. When it comes to us coming to the end of it, then it comes down to being get a ticket. If you don't want to volunteer for it, we're going to help you volunteer for it. Take a little bit out of your pocketbook, I suppose, by the way the state looks at it, and push that effort to try to get the voluntary compliance and the change to come about in people's minds and attitudes about taking care of the safety of themselves and other ones around them.
I think you brought up a really good point, because when people think of drinking and driving, and hopefully now they're over that and they're past that. But the state patrol is really not against anybody having a beer or two on at their house or out in the public somewhere at some point in time. That's not your point, is it?
That's not the point at all. Everybody needs to go out and have a good time, blow off a little bit of steam. All we want you to do is do so responsibly, plan ahead. Call for a ride. There's so many things out there now between Uber, Lyft, the little taxi services. Cooperate together when you're out in a group. Most people do that together, so somebody doesn't drink that night, drives everybody home. It's all good. Yeah. We want you to have a good time. We want you to relax. Just do so responsibly.
Yeah, no, I think that's a wonderful situation. If you go back to when I was just a kid, that was just the opposite, and I will tell you that it was never a good idea back in the day, okay? But it was somewhat of a badge of courage and honor back in the 60s and 70s, and it was a stupid move entirely at that point in time. It's amazing more people weren't hurt or killed with the attitudes that we all had, because, I think I'm good enough to drive, I'll just make it home. And then the next morning you don't remember how you got home even,
right.
Which was, that's the scary part of this whole thing as well. Mike, you came along with Bob, and I'm sure you have some stats for us. How big of a problem is drunk driving nowadays in Northwest Ohio and all around the country?
We're seeing it daily, Jim.
Yeah.
And this is something that's still shocking. I'm working on my 28th year with the division.
Okay.
And it's a problem that never seems to go away. We have peaks and valleys at times. You think the problem's going down, but then it'll spike back up. And it all goes back to making that choice before you get behind the wheel. And like Lieutenant Ashenfelder said, that is a conscious choice that everyone must make. And with so many viable options out there now, there's no need to get behind the wheel.
Yeah, there's none.
Just not.
None whatsoever. How have we been? Has this been a terrible year? Have we had a good year this year so far through the summer, or how are things going at this point in time with the accidents?
This year, our stats this year are a little above what they were last year at this point in time. So it's actually on an increase. And just for an example, and I'll just play a little bit with Williams County numbers, bring it real home local for you. In 2015, in Williams County, there were 184 OVI arrests. Okay. In 2015, it went down. We said, okay, great, 149 total OVI arrests in Williams County alone. In 2017, it was back up to 172. So that's like one every other day, if you want to play it that way.
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of them are going to be a little bit more on the weekends, but it doesn't make a difference what time of day it is either. It's the OVI when we talk about operating a vehicle impaired. We're talking about with prescription meds. We're talking about drugs. We're talking about alcohol. All of that. So when you drive sober, you need to drive sober of all of those things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And statewide stats, Jim, like in 2017, there were 14,387 OVI-related crashes. Out of that, 397 deaths occurred. That's statewide.
Wow.
So, and with Williams County being a lesser population, it's not as high up here as down around the metro areas of Cincinnati, Cleveland, or Columbus. But there is still a problem. We have local people still getting hurt and killed because of someone that made a bad choice. Yeah.
Oh boy, and there's no doubt about that. One of the things I wanted to question you guys about a little bit, I know we have testing now for alcohol. Okay, you can blow in a tube and we can find out whether you're sober or you're not sober. How hard is it though still to deal with somebody who might be smoking pot, on prescription painkillers, whatever it might be? There's no test for that at this point in time, is there? Or is there? Am I not aware?
Actually, we're working on right now, there are tests where we can get those type of levels and things
Okay.
for people, whether what kind of drugs are on and what kind of drugs and nanograms per se of marijuana and things that the bill and the state, let me rephrase that, the way that the law reads, over a certain amount of nanograms will put you over driving impaired of marijuana. All right, so anything over 200 nanograms is driving impaired in the law's eyes.
Okay.
Now, when it comes down to that, we have there's new Mike, help me out. What's the name? Our
So you've been,
the DRE program.
you've been hanging around me.
Sorry,
Bob, here's,
I know,
here's
I
the
know.
thing, Bob. It's all my fault. I'll
It's
take
your
the
fault?
entire
All
blame
right.
for it. And Eric and these guys can tell you, anybody that hangs out with me for any length of time gets my same forgetfulness.
Yeah,
How's
there
that? I
you go.
rub off on you. So
The acronym escaped me, but it's the DRE program, which
Yeah.
is Drug Recognition Expert.
Okay.
To where we send troopers and there's police officers throughout the state and now throughout the country, and we're working on improving that more and more for the drug recognition expert, for someone to be able to walk someone through field sobriety, to
Sure.
look at all sorts of things and figure out exactly if they're impaired or not impaired, and obviously, and also what kind of drugs that they may be on, whether it's stimulants, depressants, all of that comes into play, to where then they can go and testify in court as to what their observations were.
Sure.
A urine test and a blood test will show the level of, per se level of what there may be in their system, and help substantiate that drug or drug driving arrest at that point in
Yeah,
time. So it's really gotten more involved, and they are working right now, on I want to say like a field sobriety test, or like a portable test that we will be able to. It's coming soon. It's not out right now in the state, but they're working on bringing it forward. Whether it's like a litmus test, to where they'll actually swab in the mouth a little bit and see where we can go to get some sort of recognition about what's in there, to make it a lot simpler process to see if someone is possibly impaired, that we can start moving forward with the proper procedures.
Yeah, yeah. I had heard a little bit about that there was going to be a field test coming.
Right.
But I wasn't sure where it was at this point in time. So we are getting close, though.
We're getting close. We're getting closer.
And you know, I
don't have a time frame, but we are getting closer.
And an awful lot of people worry a little bit about that, about being tested. Okay, well, you know, I'm right there. I wasn't that drunk. I was doing just fine. Okay,
Right.
but I can tell you that it seems like the breathalyzers and the tests that you guys have come up with nowadays are very, very accurate, very, very fair. And if you are under the threshold, it will show that way. And if you're over the threshold, it will show that as well. As I get my morning call from somebody. How's that? I forgot to turn that one off. But that really it is. These things are very, very accurate nowadays. So for folks who worry a little bit about that, and then would maybe fight back or push back a little bit and say, man, I'm so and so, and I've got this responsibility, and I don't want this crazy test to show something that it shouldn't. You guys have been working with it for quite a while. You're very comfortable with it, are you not?
We are very comfortable with it. It's the scientific methods. Obviously, we're not the scientists that develop it. However, the testing, 99.9% of the time, reveals exactly what we feel was going on through our training experience of what's happening.
Yeah, no doubt. Peg, let's go back to the Drive Sober, Get Pulled Over campaign as it stands here in Williams County. What are some of the things that we're going to see happening over the course of the next couple of weeks? First of all, when does it start? How long does it go?
We appreciate that, Jim. Our Drive Sober campaign actually starts officially on the 15th of this month, so just this week. So we are kicking it off with this program today. So
Okay.
Appreciate that opportunity. Again, coming together with the Safe Communities Coalition, the joint efforts to just get information out. Social media is one avenue that we surely do through the Williams County Health Department. We have asked people to like our page and take a look there. We do have a lot of information that comes out through social media. Obviously, our newspapers. This radio broadcast is a great way to get the news out, make people aware. I mean, obviously, this is not just a 2-week time period that we need to think about don't drink and drive. I mean, this is something that we need to think about all the time. From Safe Communities, this is the educational portion. Like Lieutenant said, the enforcement end is there. Ohio Department of Transportation, ODOT down in Bowling Green is where we work with our engineers there. The engineering, we have our local ODOT here in Montpelier. So just the awareness, we do have out the electronic message boards will be out, reminding people not to drink and drive, so that's another way to be aware. The number of deaths that are on the board already in regards to drunk driving, those things will be out there. And just getting the information out to people and again, giving them some things to think about as far as alternatives. It's not so much, like I said, you can't have a good time, but obviously you need to be responsible. I mean, even whether you're at that 0.08 level in regards to legally drunk, even at 0.02, your vision is affected, your judgment is affected. So buzz driving is drunk driving. And so in that respect, get a designated driver or know where you're going to, have a plan in place before you actually go out and have that party. So it really is being responsible, and really knowing that what you do affects the lives of many people. And so just being aware that don't drink and drive. It's a pretty simple message, but sometimes it's hard to live that, and you just have to be intentional about it and say, hey, I'm not going to be that person. And make sure you just get some help.
Yeah, Bob, what are the limitations? I mean, when I blow into the tube, where are we at nowadays? Do I need to be at a point? Where am I?
The per se level within the state and within and that's all 50 states now within the country is 0.08.
Okay.
Once you're over the 0.08, you are considered impaired driving. Some people, depending on the situation, might be a little bit lower if they've got other things, other drugs and stuff put in there as well. Blood thinners, things on that order are going to affect your, and just for one example, that's going to affect some of that through that process, but the legal parameters of it is 0.08 for alcohol.
And that's become now a nationwide standard.
That is a nationwide standard.
Which was good too, because at one point in time that fluctuated from state to state.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's a great idea. It's been a while since they really started to put that together. Are you comfortable with that 0.08 number?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we are comfortable with that. I mean, years ago it was 0.10.
Yeah.
At that point they lowered it a little bit, and at 0.08 is impaired.
Yeah.
It is impaired. We knew that back in 01 with the 0.1, but we couldn't do anything about it. And between the state legislation and the federal legislation pushed through, when things were brought forward to them to show them what these impairment levels do, they conceded with it and brought it down.
Sounds good. I have with me right now Peg Buda, who is Safe Communities Coordinator for Williams County. Also with me is Lieutenant Bob Ashenfelder and Sergeant Mike McLean. We need to step away and pay some bills here on the queue. When we come back, we're going to get a little more in-depth into the drive sober or get pulled over movement that's going on right now and the program that's going on for the next 3 weeks here in Williams County.
Keeping children safe on Ohio school buses is a priority for the Ohio State Highway Patrol. This is Lieutenant Bob Ashenfelder of the Defiance Post. Safety on the roadway is a shared responsibility. Even though motorists are required to stop as a safety measure, children should always look both ways before crossing the street and remain alert to any sudden traffic changes. Together, we can make this a safe school year.
They say there is strength in numbers. In Bryan, we have always taken pride in supporting our Golden Bear student athletes in all of their sporting endeavors. The Bryan Athletic Boosters now have a chance for you to get into the game. If you're Bryan proud, it's time to become Bryan strong. Whether you were a BHS athlete, are raising a BHS athlete, or just love supporting our Bryan High School athlete, this is your chance to be part of the BHS sporting community. Talk to any board member today on how easy it is to join, or contact us at 419-636-4536.
Gathering with those we love, we get to catch up and we get to reflect on the past.
It seems like every time we get together, I always learn something new.
Here's the front page of the Columbus Dispatch when he won state baseball tournament, sliding into home plate.
Look at that, the front page. And that's a neat picture.
That was a great memory. I'll never forget that.
At Oberlin Turnbull Funeral Home, we understand that there are special memories that need to be remembered and shared.
One thing that hasn't changed here at Bryan Ford Lincoln is our commitment to service. It's in everything we do. It's in our mission statement. Our goal is simple: customers for life. Kick back in our newly renovated service lounge or business center. We pick up and deliver throughout the local area at no charge. So the next time you need service on your Ford or competitive make vehicle, come out and see us at Bryan Ford Lincoln and see why we've earned Ford Motor Company's President's Award 7 times running.
This is my story.
I'm a beekeeper in a small town in Ohio, and I've been born and raised into agriculture my whole life. I already had my business when I went to Northwest State, so as I was learning, a lot of the things that they were teaching us were so crucial that I was applying them directly to my business. So I was growing my business with my education.
There comes a time when every family is faced with the difficult choice of aftercare for a family companion. In the past, your choices were limited to burial or cremation. Now there's a better option, aquamation. It's a gentle, more responsible alternative that allows you to honor the loss of your companion without harming the environment. Aquamation is a simple process similar to Mother Nature's own that allows the family to retain more of their companion's remains. To find out more, call or stop by Creel Funeral Service today. You don't always see them, and they don't always see you. That's the time to call Jason Dietz Collisions and Customs in Edgerton. Many of today's vehicles feature very durable and lightweight aluminum construction, and we are proud to be one of the few shops in the area with the proper tools and certified technicians to bring that aluminum beauty back to life. Jason Dietz Collisions and Customs on State Route 6 on the east side of Edgerton.
Last year, over 390 people in Ohio were killed because someone chose to get behind the wheel impaired. This is Lieutenant Bob Ashenfelder of the Ohio State Highway Patrol's Defiance Post. As part of the patrol's ongoing effort to contribute to a safer Ohio, troopers will continue an increased focus on impaired driving arrests in 2018. But we can't fight this battle on our own. We need your commitment to plan ahead by designating a sober driver or call for a ride. If you drink, don't drive.
Rufus here on the Q96.5 FM, 1028 right now, and we are talking with Peg Budon. Am I good there, Peg?
You're great. Thanks, Jim.
At times, with me, I don't even remember my own name most of the time. And so to get them all wrong at times is just the way that I am. Safe Communities Coordinator with Williams County. Also with us right now is Lieutenant Bob Ashenfelder and also Sergeant Mike McLean from the Ohio Highway Patrol. Peg, let's talk about how does this program fit in with statewide and even a national level of drive sober or get pulled over when you have a Safe Communities program like this?
I think what we need to really remember that, traffic crash injuries and fatalities, it's really one of the most overlooked public health issues that we have today. And sometimes we don't think about it as a public health, but when you think about the amount of work that's lost because of drunk driving, the total expenses that it costs in regards for crashes, to all of our first responders, the amount of effort and money that goes into addressing these issues that are on our road, it does affect a lot of people. And so really appreciate the opportunity to be here today just to talk a little bit about what we can do collectively as a coalition, and that's really the Williams County Coalition, our Williams County Safe Communities Coalition out of the Health Department. We have a coalition where we join together with our law enforcement agencies, the Williams County Sheriff, our local police departments, the Williams County EMA, they're the 911 communications, our emergency medical system. The people come together. We do this quarterly. We have a quarterly meeting, and then also discussing ways that we can address traffic safety issues here in Williams County. And we do then look at, we have a fatal data review of crashes that have happened in the quarter before, see if there's any way we can make some changes, whether it's on road signage or the actual enforcement of the law that would be in place there that might have been violated, different ways that we can address that through education and come together and look for countermeasures to help make our community safer. And so that joint effort really is a big key factor of what the coalition's about. And we do have other community members that are involved. The hospital, community hospitals, wellness centers have been helpful there too, giving us good data through the emergency room. And really it has just been a very, very collective thing that not just Williams County Safe Communities, but it is the coalition that we really are talking about today. Yeah. And so specifically, as we go into Labor Day weekend, I'm looking at the Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over campaign, and starting here this week. And so just really wanting people to know that, the message is, drive sober or get pulled over. The bottom line is don't drink and drive. And that just is the bottom line.
Yeah, that's very important. Bob, let's talk a little bit about Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over. That's a program. That's kind of a new slogan. It's not been with us for long. It's been a few years now, and more than likely now it's been 15. Now that I say that, okay.
Probably about what it's been.
Okay, but it is a program. Why to get started, and why the slogan like that? Why do you use something like that?
We like the catchphrase to be able to make it stick in people's minds, and the logo itself has an officer with it, and it kind of with the hat represents an officer. Drive sober or get pulled over. Basically, we want you to think, if you're even thinking about getting behind that wheel, the first thing, and you've had something to drink, what we want you to think about is, okay, well, we don't want you to have to get to that, but we want you to think about law enforcement's going to be out there. We're out there looking for you because we want to make sure that you get home safe. And regardless of what you do to yourself, we want to make sure that we're protecting everybody else for the actions that you are partaking in at this point in time.
No doubt.
There is no place you'd rather see. There's no place you'd rather see me than at your door. All right, at the side of the road when I've pulled you over. That's really where you want to see me. I always ask people that, hey, where's the last place you want to see me? And they go, well, I don't want to see you at my door, at my window of my car. Sure. I'm like, no, that's where you want to see me, because I'm here to help you correct behavior of something we observed. Where you don't want to see me is on your front porch telling your loved ones you're not coming home, or telling your loved ones that someone else is not coming home tonight because of actions that someone did.
No doubt about
that.
So
that is the worst. That is the worst part of our job, and that is the part I want to set home with people for this.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Let's talk about the statistics around our area, guys. How many fatalities do we have around Northwest Ohio? I always consider, Williams, Henry, Fulton, Paulding counties, all of our Defiance counties is our backyard. How does it work around here? Who's the safest? Where's the most dangerous spot to drive, I guess, in Northwest Ohio?
Go ahead.
Well, for 2017, Jim, this is District 1 encompasses pretty much of all Northwest Ohio.
Okay.
And if we throw those numbers at you, of course, the total district for alcohol-involved crashes for 2017 was 1,198, almost 1,200 crashes.
Wow.
And out of that, of course, Lucas County had the majority of those because the population, and with that, you see a spike in that. But as far as it goes, the lesser the population, the lesser number of crashes.
Sure.
So for district-wide, though, it was about 1,200 last year, alcohol-related crashes.
That's that's a lot of crashes that are alcohol-related, or alcohol or drug, I guess, related to some sort of impairment situation.
Absolutely.
County by county, guys. How are we doing with that? Do we have those numbers with us here today?
Williams County for the traffic crashes themselves, OVI related. Williams County last year in 2017 was 39.
Okay.
Fulton County was 51.
Okay.
Henry County was 40. Defiance was 46. Paulding was 32. Putnam was 29. Van Wert was 26.
Okay.
Now we get into Allen County down around Lima, and we're looking at 169. All right. Now Wood County 136, and then Lucas County was 508. Hancock County was 87, and Hardin was 36. Now, if you look at those numbers and you compare them to the population, really the averages are about the same.
Yeah.
All right? And it's not a unique problem. There's a percentage of the people out there that are doing this that get themselves hurt and or injured, or even worse, and it just all really comes down to the population itself as to what it is, but the percentages are the same.
That's amazing. Now, the one thing that you guys talked a little bit about off of Mike here today too is, and this is mind-numbing to me, the number of people that still aren't wearing seatbelts, okay, that are involved in these crashes. Mike, you want to take that on?
Yeah, the seatbelt law has been around since 1986, and I'm stating my age here, but I graduated in 1986.
There you go.
Of course, as a senior or graduating, I didn't think much of the seatbelt usage back then, because at that time they're making me wear it. I don't want to wear it. But then I came on the division in 1990. I see it does make a difference.
Yeah.
There's just things, and I stated this before. I've never unbelted a dead person. But it definitely does make a difference. And there again, that's a conscious choice. And it doesn't matter if you're going a mile down the road or 100 feet down the road, or if you're going across the state. It's the conscious effort of getting in that car, and it becomes a habit now, especially with us. We're required to wear it. I wouldn't leave home without it.
Yeah.
And my kids doubly get it because my wife's a state trooper as well. So they're really, they've heard it from
both sides,
yes.
mom and dad. Boy, they didn't have a chance.
And 3 of them are driving, and as soon as they get in the car, it's been preached to them. It's a habit for them now.
Yeah. Well, it's, you know what, I think it's a habit for most of us. I grew up, I'm 64 years old, so when I grew up, they tossed you in the back window, okay, along with your brother. You guys may have been there too, in a great big old car, okay? No belts, no nothing. If they hit the brakes real hard, you came flying out, hit the back of the seat, ended up in the wheel well there of the back seat, and you got up and you learned your lesson, and you didn't stay up there anymore. But I can't imagine not putting a belt on at this point in time. It is second nature for me, and you know, basically, Bob, you were saying too that there's a huge number of these fatalities that still these folks don't have their seatbelts on.
Statewide, the average is about 56% of people being unbelted in a fatal crash. All right. Now, with that 56%, you could take a lot of things with that, and people, if they were wearing it, how many of them would still be alive?
Sure.
All right. The cars and the engineering of the new cars these days are a lot different than they were back in the 60s and 70s when we grew up.
Yep.
So these things are made to, the seatbelt is an integral part of the safety mechanisms of these cars. So that seatbelt is designed to keep you in that seat while everything else around that car dissipates and goes away. Now, the car can't help you if you're not seatbelted in, and you strike something else, you're going to be ejected out the windows. All right, we see it all the time. You're going to go out the windows, you're going to go out the windshield, you're going to go out the sunroof. However, you will exit that vehicle just on the kinetic laws of inertia. You are just going to go. And with that, your chances of surviving are slim to none. Now, if you can keep that seatbelt on, stay within that front seat or stay within that back seat of that car, everything around it peels off anymore. It's almost like NASCAR was years ago. You watch it hit, and the driver comes out. Now they took a lot of that engineering and moved that into today's cars, and it's very important to stay in the interior passenger compartment of that car to protect yourself. Now, with that and wearing the safety belt's the easiest thing you can do to protect yourself, your family, and your friends. So you really should get on that and do that. From 2014 to 2016, more than half of the people killed in Ohio's roadways were not wearing their safety belts. All right, which goes right along with today's numbers as well. We're at 56% right now. Fatal crashes are deceased without their seatbelts. The National Highway Traffic and Safety Administration estimates 409 lives were saved in Ohio, and 14,668 were saved nationwide in 2016 as a direct result of the motorists buckling up. Now, these are the most current numbers we have right now coming out of the national stats. Using your safety belt remains the single most effective thing you can do to protect yourself in a crash. Now, with that, I would like to hit upon something right here, local in Williams County. Right now, Williams County, we have 9 traffic deaths in this county for this year of 2018 since January 1. Those numbers are astronomical. Okay, that is an increase plus 6 over we were completely last year. All right, for the entire year last year. For the entire year.
Peg, we had 3 last year entirely. Is that what we're
at this time this year, we were plus 6 this time, but there were 4 crashes last year.
So
fatal crashes.
Fatal crashes last year. We've already have 9 at this point in time.
We have 9 deaths this time at this point in time. Now, with that being said, 71% of those deceased in those crashes were not wearing their safety belts.
Wow.
Okay, so that this does not correlate. It does correlate. Correlates the stats. You're not going to wear it. There's a good chance you're going to die if you're involved in a motor vehicle crash.
Yeah.
So you need to keep that safety belt on. We're out here trying to enforce that as much as possible. Every time we see you. You're not wearing that belt. You can count on. We're going to come looking for you. We're going to try to make you and change your behavior to put that seatbelt on. All I want is voluntary compliance. I don't want you to, when you see me, think about putting it on. I want you to put it on before you get in that car, before you put the thing in gear, before you drive out of the driveway. I don't care if you're going down the street 1 block. I don't care if you're going across the county or you're going across the state. Put it on. Buckle up every time.
Yeah. The question I've always wanted to ask a state trooper right now, so I'm going to ask it right now because you know how many people that you guys see aren't wearing the belt. Okay, they've got it propped somehow so that you kind of think they are maybe, or they think you think they are, or you see them pulling it as they see you. I mean, there's no way of hiding this stuff. You guys can see this. You can tell whether I'm belted or not as they're coming towards you. Can you not?
We can see. We're trained. This is what we do for a living.
living. So everybody that does anything for a living for a long period of time, you know your job inside out. You know that board. I'm sitting here looking at all your computers and all your mics,
Sure.
and I have no idea. Your engineer was laughing that, maybe the DJ doesn't know all of it. I know even less than that. Now, when you get me behind the wheel of a cruiser and the things that I do day in and day out, we're out here looking at license plates. We're looking at people's driving behaviors. We're looking at people when, if they're pulled over to the side of the road, looking for disabled vehicles all the time. We're looking for people not wearing their safety belts. We're looking for those traffic violations to get those people off the road. And we do it so much, and it's so ingrained on us. We've actually had stories to where sometimes we might be on a family vacation. We're traveling down the highway, maybe we're going to Florida, and the family's in the car, and we instinctively start to pull over maybe on the berm to go help a disabled motorist. Okay, because we're constantly paying attention 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Is this a fair statement, Mike?
Fair statement.
We've all done it.
Yeah.
We're like, nope, we're not on duty. We have no lights. We can't do that. We're traveling. So most of us will pick up the phone at that point in time through our Bluetooth and call the post and make sure we call somebody in to get somebody out there to help them.
No doubt about that. All right, will there be any, for the next 3 weeks, we have our Drive Sober, Get Pulled Over program. From a state patrol aspect, will there be changes in the way that you guys look at drivers for the next 3 weeks? Will there be more enforcements out there on the road? How will that all work?
Obviously, this is something, just like we have to, just like we ingrain in the general public. These are awareness campaigns to get this message out here. I'm going to constantly be drilling it in my sergeant's heads to be able to put into the troopers' heads. Be aware, we're working this again. Even though we work it every day, this one is going to take the most and foremost frontage for the next 3 weeks. So, and it all comes into play because we're always looking for seatbelts. We want people to wear their seatbelts. We want people not to drink and drive. We want people to not text and drive. We want to watch out for the motorcycles and make sure they're obeying the laws and people aren't pulling out in front of them. All of that stuff. So, and that is a constant message with us as to what we're doing, and we just try to bring it home because everybody gets caught up in the things of their job. So right now, for the next 3 weeks, is the Drive Sober, Get Pulled Over campaign, and there will be a great emphasis on it. And there is overtime that we posted so that we have extra enforcements out for this particular violation. And am I missing anything, Mike?
No, you covered it all.
Okay.
I think we got it all taken care of. Well, guys, I tell you, I appreciate all the things that you do. Sergeant Mike McLean and also Lieutenant Bob Ashenfelder, thanks for being part of this today. Thanks for all for keeping your eyes open and keeping us safe out there every day on the roadways.
Thanks for having us. Thanks for having us in, Jim. Without your partnership too, we wouldn't be able to do it with what we're doing, and Pegs as well. It's the community itself coming together to help get the message out.
We're going to bring this home basically with a very local story that most people I think are aware of, and we're going to get into it when we come back here in the Q 96.5 FM.
Last year, over 390 people in Ohio were killed because someone chose to get behind the wheel impaired. This is Lieutenant Bob Ashenfelder of the Ohio State Highway Patrol's Defiance Post. As part of the patrol's ongoing effort to contribute to a safer Ohio, troopers will continue an increased focus on impaired driving arrests in 2018. But we can't fight this battle on our own. We need your commitment to plan ahead by designating a sober driver or call for a ride. If you drink, don't drive.
They say there is strength in numbers. In Bryan, we have always taken pride in supporting our Golden Bear student athletes in all of their sporting endeavors. The Bryan Athletic Boosters now have a chance for you to get into the game. If you're Bryan proud, it's time to become Bryan strong. Whether you were a BHS athlete, are raising a BHS athlete, or just love supporting our Bryan High School athlete, this is your chance to be part of the BHS sporting community. Talk to any board member today on how easy it is to join, or contact us at 419-636-4536.
Gathering with those we love, we get to catch up and we get to reflect on the past.
It seems like every time we get together, I always learn something new.
Here's the front page of the Columbus Dispatch when he won state baseball tournament, sliding into home plate.
Look at that, the front page. And that's a neat picture.
That was a great memory. I'll never forget that.
At Oberlin Turnbull Funeral Home, we understand that there are special memories that need to be remembered and shared.
One thing that hasn't changed here at Bryan Ford Lincoln is our commitment to service. It's in everything we do. It's in our mission statement. Our goal is simple: customers for life. Kick back in our newly renovated service lounge or business center. We pick up and deliver throughout the local area at no charge. So the next time you need service on your Ford or competitive make vehicle, come out and see us at Bryan Ford Lincoln and see why we've earned Ford Motor Company's President's Award 7 times running.
This is my story. I'm a mother of 3, a wife, and a cat operator. I earned my degree in mechanical engineering technologies. Now I have a career doing exactly what I studied. I learned more, now I earn more.
You don't always see them, and they don't always see you. That's the time to call Jason Dietz Collisions and Customs in Edgerton. Many of today's vehicles feature very durable and lightweight aluminum construction, and we are proud to be one of the few shops in the area with the proper tools and certified technicians to bring that aluminum beauty back to life. Jason Dietz Collisions and Customs on State Route 6 on the east side of Edgerton. There comes a time when every family is faced with the difficult choice of aftercare for a family companion. In the past, your choices were limited to burial or cremation. Now there's a better option, Aquamation. It's a gentle, more responsible alternative that allows you to honor the loss of your companion without harming the environment. Aquamation is a simple process similar to Mother Nature's own that allows the family to retain more of their companion's remains. To find out more, call or stop by Creel Funeral Service today.
Keeping children safe on Ohio school buses is a priority for the Ohio State Highway Patrol. This is Lieutenant Bob Aschenfelder of the Defiance Post. Safety on the roadway is a shared responsibility. Even though motorists are required to stop as a safety measure, children should always look both ways before crossing the street and remain alert to any sudden traffic changes. Together, we can make this a safe school year.
And we're back here to wrap things up to the top of the hour here with Peg Buda, with the Safe Communities Coordinator for Williams County. And we have now with us Kim and Kevin Oxender who have joined us. And we're going to bring this one a little bit closer to home and maybe give you a little feel for what it's like to get that call or that visit from a state trooper when you have a night that you'd all like to remember and like to change just a little bit. Guys, welcome in. Welcome
Thank
in.
you. Thank you.
Kim, I guess, I don't know, either one of you want to start, because I think awful lot of people have heard of the name Caleb McLaughlin around this area. There are things that go on. In fact, recently we had a big motorcycle ride that went throughout the area and everything. But let's go back to that story. Let's set things up. When did this all happen?
Well, about 5 years ago. It was 5 years ago. It was a normal night. Mm-hmm. Normal day, like any other day. We got up for work, and it was about 3:20 in the morning. We got a phone call from my other son, absolutely frantic. They couldn't find his brother. He'd been in an accident. Kim was getting around for work. I was getting around. I thought, well, I'll go out and see what's going on. Figured he'd been in a ditch or something happened. We really didn't know what was going on, and so I took off for his trailer, about 2 miles from our place in Pioneer. And the closer I got, the more lights I seen. I went, oh, this is not good. It'll be all right. He's wrecked cars before. It's all right.
Yeah,
it's all right. Then I pulled up, and the fire chief and my brother and a group of officers met me at my truck, and they couldn't talk. And excuse me.
Yeah, it's okay. Take your time.
Still a little raw.
No, you know what? I cannot imagine if I would have lost a son. I don't think that I'll ever get over or would ever get over.
You
it doesn't
don't.
matter. It's going to be raw forever. I would think. Yeah.
They met me at the truck and just kept saying it's not good, and I could see Caleb had just gotten a new truck. I had it about a month, and I could see it laying on its side, and it was destroyed. I seen the pole hanging, and I went, oh, he's hurt bad. And I kept looking at Chief Fackler from Pioneer and my brother, and I said, tell me, where is he? I seen the ambulance sitting there, and they wouldn't let me go down to it. Mm-hmm. And he said, no, it's not good. He didn't make it. And I said, he didn't make what? Didn't make the corner, didn't make the turn?
Yeah.
What? And he goes, no, he didn't make it. That was a whole different reality.
Yeah. Yeah.
After that, it was kind of a blur. I can remember calling our pastor, And then when Kim got there,
actually, I didn't know yet when I got there.
yeah, she did not know. I kept trying to get a hold of her. She did not know. My brother had told her when she pulled in and they got us all together. But that is a phone call that no parent wants to receive.
Yeah.
That is a visit you don't want to make.
Yeah.
And that started probably the longest week of our lives.
Yeah. Oh, I bet so. I bet so. Now, give me the details a little bit. What had happened? How did he get into this situation? Why did the accident occur?
Caleb was drinking. He was out with his buddies, and he was drinking, and he was too drunk to drive. He had a designated driver. That driver was not impaired, but had a couple of drinks.
Okay.
And point blank, they just lost it.
Yeah.
Going too fast, made some bad decisions in a very big truck at a high rate of speed, and lost control of it. And Caleb didn't survive. He was not belted in.
That's what I was going to ask. Was he belted in at all? No.
He basically was out cold.
Yeah.
And he was not belted in. And when the truck started rolling, it ejected him.
Yeah.
And that's when it occurred. If I can encourage anybody, just make a phone call.
Yeah.
Just call.
Yeah. Because even in his case, he thought maybe in his state that he had done the right thing, getting somebody who wasn't as drunk as what he was, okay, to deal with this. And we're not saying that the person that was driving necessarily was totally impaired.
No.
But obviously, there was speed involved. You told me that they estimated it was 90 miles an hour or more that they were driving when they went off the road and turned over and hit that pole. So you had somebody driving behind the wheel who really wasn't thinking all that clearly, because this was where was the accident at?
About an eighth of a mile from his trailer.
County Road.
On a county road right outside of Kunkel.
Okay. So 90 miles an hour, I'm sure, is not the posted speed limit for that road heading back to his house. Okay. So even though he made the choice to try to get somebody else to drive for him, unfortunately, that person made some real bad decisions at that time, and basically, there was a girlfriend, I think. And is she okay? Was she all right?
She's fine. She was slightly injured in the accident, and is okay.
Yeah. But nobody can be okay after that, I can't imagine. Okay, mom and dad aren't okay with the whole process, and to have lived through that and worked through that at that point in time, I've got to believe that's something she'll carry for the rest of her life as well.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
It affects everybody. Kip's friends, his girlfriend, his siblings, his parents. It affects everybody.
Yeah, it really does. And again, I really appreciate your coming in to talk to us today, because we really need to bring this home, Pat, don't we? I mean, that's the reason for this Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over campaign. That's the reason why the county and the state troopers are all involved with this, is a story like this one that just absolutely, I can't even imagine. I've got goosebumps right now, and it's not my child that I lost, but that's the reason for all this, isn't it?
Well, definitely, Jim, and we are very appreciative of just the courage that this couple displays to share this story, in hopes that someone out there will hear it and really hear it and take it to heart and not drink and drive. I mean, when it comes down to it, decision not to drink and drive really shouldn't be a tough one. It is illegal; it's against the law.
Sure.
But sometimes we make mistakes, and those mistakes. Sometimes we get away with those mistakes, and sometimes we don't, and it does impact our whole community. When they were sharing, the family, it goes out to the family's friends, it goes out to the community in large, and it really does impact everybody. And so it's not just about one person dying; it's really a loss to the whole community. And we don't know what Caleb would be doing today, but just know that he would be creating good in some way.
Yeah.
And so we really appreciate, again, the courage it takes to share the story, and the reminder to all of us that the decisions we make do matter, and they do make an impact, and sometimes the wrong decision can change a life forever and the lives around. So but we really appreciate Kim and Kevin. They also spoke at our mock crash that we did this year, and the high school students were able to hear their story and made a big impact, I think, on just this was right before prom season, a time that we have had the mock crash every other year for the last several years, and very important message to let them know that one decision can make a difference, and sometimes it's not a good
maybe it's a good decision or a bad decision will make a big difference.
It definitely
it
impacts a lot of people.
How old was Caleb at that point?
Just turned 20. 20 days
20.
after his 20th birthday.
Oh man, that's a whole life ahead of him, a whole life to live at that point in time.
Mm-hmm.
Now you guys have tried to do things to help encourage better decisions, and I know recently I just talked about it. I hit on it to begin with. There was a huge motorcycle rally. I know I saw pictures of it. It's just unbelievable to see the number of people that turned out to help support you this year, is it not?
Yeah, well, our first one was in 2014, and we thought we'd just get some bikes together and promote organ donation, which we do now, and just remember not only Caleb's life, but Pioneers had a lot of loss to traffic accidents with our younger kids. And so we went together with another motorcycle group, Fire and Iron, and they helped us put this together, and it just grows and grows, and the towns have been so good. And
I saw you coming through Bryan, okay, and holy smokes, I had 2 or 3 people ask me what was that went through, okay, so that at least has to make you feel good that have that many people helping and supporting with it.
Yes, it's the whole community. It's our whole county gets behind us. We have people come from all over. When it comes to the ride, and this year we had a 3-day event. It was incredible. I mean, it was just absolutely incredible at the amount of how close a small town is, and that's what it's all about. I mean, it's kind of cliche, it's Mayberry, but it's really, I mean, that's why Pioneer, any small town is. They rally around people, and they care for their own.
They really do, And most of them. I mean, most of them, whether they really know you or not, they because it's a small town, they know who you are. They knew who Caleb was. I'm sure they knew a lot of different things, and for them to step up like that is wonderful. Yeah, Kim, you say you're trying now to promote organ donations at this point in time now through your fund.
Yes, we are. We discovered the bittersweet reality of organ donation.
Yes.
When you turn 16, you mark that on your driver's license. You don't think anything about it. We just tell our kids that's what you do. So that's what Caleb did, and it's so much more than putting that little box on there.
Yeah.
Because Caleb's gone.
But he's not.
Yeah, but he's not. And
he has enhanced the lives of 50 plus people. Eyes, tissue. They were able to use a lot.
Wow.
And what Caleb gave somebody the gift of sight. He helped with research, his bones, his skin tissue, veins, everything. I mean, it was really like I said, it's a bittersweet thing, but it's also very comforting in a way that as long as we can keep this going, he's not gone. He's still keep his memory alive, and he's still with us.
I'll tell you, I feel so sorry, and my condolences to you guys for something like that.
Thank you.
I cannot. I always used to say, I was a newsman early on in my career, and I didn't mind going out to something where an adult was hurt or killed or whatever, a guy my age that went out and did something stupid, I'd think, oh, that's not a big deal. But somebody Caleb's age or younger, those were the tough stories to deal with because they had so much ahead of them, and you just wonder to yourself, why? Why in the world does something like that happen to somebody that young? We can't explain it. But you guys are doing some wonderful things, and I appreciate fighting through this difficult time and trying to make things better for other people.
Well, we'll tell Caleb's story as long as we are able. If it can just save one kid or one mom, it's worth the story.
It is worth the story because, like Lieutenant Ashenfelder said, probably that call that you got from them or that notification that you got from those guys, the authorities there on the scene, that's the tough one. If somebody would have found them a little earlier and sighted them and put their seatbelt on them and got them home, that would have been a wonderful result.
I would have given anything to have him standing right beside
Yeah.
Caleb's truck.
You bet.
And writing him a ticket.
You bet.
And making that difference. But you know, it wasn't meant to be. And if we can, like Kim said, if we can save one parent from this, it's worth it.
No doubt. Kim and Kevin Oxender, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you for having us.
Our hearts go out for you. Whatever we can do to help as you continue on. I know we read a number of announcements, but you know, please feel free to get with us here, and we'll help you promote that from this point on too.
Thank you.
Give you one of those as well. Back to Peg Buddha here real quick. Peg, we do have a Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over campaign, Peg, that you guys are starting this week, okay, through the Safe Communities coordination that you guys do. Let's go over that just one more time. What are we trying to get people to be aware of here for the next 3 weeks?
Well, again, this is a national campaign, so it is all across the United States. We are obviously connected in here in Williams County with our local law enforcement mobilization. They'll be out in force, you know, looking for drunk driving. Obviously, some of the safe or tips I can maybe provide as far as, you know, being safe as a driver, and maybe even watching out for the other guy, but start with getting that seatbelt put on every time you get in the car, every trip. Remember, it's not okay to drink and drive. It is illegal, and, you know, designate a driver. Make sure you have a plan, and make sure that you make good decisions beforehand, so that when you're in the mix of it, you know, you've already had a plan in place. And if you're out driving and you see someone that looks like they're not able to, you know, be safe on the road, you know, call local law enforcement and let them know that there is a drunk driver or someone's impaired, and just be wise. Be a friend, help others. If you see someone that's been drinking, you know, take their keys, make sure they get home safely, and just really help each other out. And Labor Day weekends, kind of that last, you know, fling of the thing of the season, and so you know, just to be really caring for other people and making sure that you care for them by your decisions and being responsible, and don't drink and drive.
Very good. Peg, if somebody would like to get a hold of you, how would they do that?
Well, I work for the Williams County Health Department, and so definitely can make a call there to the Williams County Health Department. Our phone number is 419-485-3141. Ask for Safe Communities, and just a way that we can impart as far as community involvement with our coalition. You know, we do invite people to become a part of that. We have great involvement with our first responders, our law enforcement, you know, the local community. Kevin and Kim have been part of that impact, just in their being able part of some of our programming we've done. We just have a good community support, but you know, we always welcome new members, so that would be a reason to give us a call. And then, you know, our Safe Communities is promoted through our social media there with the Williams County Health Department. It's another way to stay connected in.
Fantastic. Peg Buda, thank you for all the work that you do. Thanks for bringing everybody in here today so we can talk about Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over. And we look forward to having you back sometime.
All right. Okay? Well, I appreciate it so much, Jim, and just appreciate what you're doing here, getting the word out and giving us that platform to really, you know, speak some truth and hope people will listen.
Yeah, we do too.
Thanks.
Thank you to both the Oxenders, Kim and Kevin, and also our folks from the Ohio State Highway Patrol today, Sergeant Mike McLean and Bob Ashenfelder, and all the great work they do. Just after 11 o'clock here on the Q, 96.5 FM.